Hey everyone, welcome back. And this, if I can, here we are. This is, sorry about that. This is my review of Blood Lad, Episode 7, entitled Liz for the First Time. Hedra delivers Braz and company back to Franken's experimentation room where Fuyumi and Mamejiro wait. As Braz meets Fuyumi for the first time, his initial interaction with her angers Stas, prompting him to reject Braz's help and uses his temporary method of restoring Fuyumi with his own blood. Afterwards, the group heads back to the Third Eye Cafe. After Braz makes a request to see Fuyumi's original body, Hedra also reveals her suspicion of Braz to Stas and gives him a magical bell which would summon her when Fuyumi requires assistance. Eventually, Braz takes a sample of magic from Fuyumi and explains that he should be able to resurrect her by converting her magic into a soul and replacing it inside a replicated body. Now, I actually want to break out the summary here for a sec just to explain how he does it, because it doesn't explain that in the summary right here on Wikipedia. But basically, what he does is, at first he tells Stas to strip her, and that's already kind of weird, and she's asleep right now, so she can't really hear this, alright? And Stas at first rejects the fact, calling Braz a pervert for obvious reasons, but, you know, I mean, what would anyone think, you know what I mean? So, yeah, and then when he finally decides to, Fuyumi finally wakes up and Stas lifts her shirt up. Don't worry, there's no titty action here. It's censored. Don't worry. But of course she fights so much with it, and Stas tells her just get undressed, or not really get undressed, but take your shirt off and whatnot. And then when she finally does, Braz takes out this gun and sticks it in between her breasts and shoots. And this basically initiates his plan with her. And then she's able to put her shirt back on and everything's explained to her and Stas, and yeah. Alright, so, and that's basically how it worked. I thought that was my favorite scene in the entire, well, debatable with one other scene. It's definitely the funniest scene in the episode. Alright, and yeah, that's probably my second favorite scene in the episode, but anyways, moving on with more of the summary though. After having obtained all he needs, Braz leaves for Acropolis while leaving Liz behind. And unbeknownst to Stas, plans on extracting Stas' magic from Fuyumi's sample for his own experiments. Afterwards, Stas shows Liz around the Eastern District and buys her a stuffed animal before returning to the cafe for a bite to eat made by Fuyumi. And that's also kind of a funny scene too, because both of them are both Stas and Liz are reluctant to eat it, but they both end up eating it. Stas says that it's like Fuyumi, it's simple, the food that is, and then, which kind of ticks her off, like she even said in her mind that she would want him to say it's delicious even if he's lying. And, you know, Liz says it's yummy, and that's good enough for Fuyumi. So you know. So sometime later, Stas deduces that Braz has forbidden Liz from returning to Acropolis until his experiments are complete and allow her to stay at his place Willist, introducing her to his otaku collection. And that's why I love Stas as a main character so much. He's an otaku just like myself. Unfortunately, he owns way more shit than I do. I wish I owned all the otaku shit, you know, anime, manga, and games that he did. Oh my, holy fuck. Meanwhile, a strange blonde man observed the group. Afterwards, Fuyumi and Liz start bonding by taking a bath together and even sleeping together. The next day, Liz wakes up to a note explaining that... And actually, I want to talk about that scene when they're just about to go to sleep first. That's actually my favorite scene in this episode because I guess it starts to develop Fuyumi's character a little bit more, not intensively more, but a little bit more, because basically, Fuyumi basically just says that she's always been lonely, or like that. And I know that's kind of just a minor piece, but it's a start, because we can kind of infer from what we've seen already with, Liz says that, sorry. We can kind of infer from what we've seen already with Liz that, her brother not necessarily didn't like her, but always kind of neglected her. The only brothers that she actually got to see, and she could have probably went to see Stas if she wanted to, but she always neglected him for so many years, or she always rejected him from her heart for so many years. So and I don't know why she hasn't been able to make any friends. Maybe we'll explain that later on as well. But basically, she's always been alone. And that's definitely a step in the right direction in terms of her character development, although I would expect some more in the future, though. But there's only 3 episodes left after this, so yeah. Bummer. Let's see, where was I? Okay, the next day, Liz wakes up to a note explaining that Fuyumi seems to have left and asked that they not follow her, but Stas and company deduced that she had probably been kidnapped and set out to search for clues. Liz reveals that Braz had planted a tracker on Fuyumi, and Stas pleads with her to return to Acropolis and get Braz's help. Alright. And when she says that she's not allowed, repeats that she's not allowed to, Stas just says if he questions her, just say that Stas threatened her, which I don't know if Braz would believe that or not, but whatever. Alright, meanwhile, Mamejiro Seiti Yoshida, who, once again, if you remember, was the one posing in for Stas when he was in Acropolis, and Dek obtain a lead on the blonde suspect who was last seen heading towards the southern part of the demon world. In the epilogue, with his magic now granting him the ability of flight, Stas takes off in search of Fuyumi. And that sums up this episode. Alright, here we are. So yeah, that sums up this episode. So now let's get into full-blown review mode here, alright? The episode was really good. Really, I think the main thing they were trying to focus on this episode was a bit more character development with Liz, which I think is really good. Stas has been getting development throughout the series, and now it's Liz's turn. Even though she hasn't been a character for all that long, it's still kind of nice. And Fuyumi's got some character development, but not all that much. But the main object of this episode was to develop Liz, and I think that's a really good idea, because she's a pretty decent character, but I think she could become an even much better character if she were developed more, I mean, she got to hang out with her brother and Fuyumi quite a bit because they watched anime together, alright, and she really enjoyed it. And then she did some bonding with Fuyumi because they took a bath together and slept together, alright. And I just want to... I'm not sure if there's any... I'd like to learn more about Liz's past. Alright. In the future. Although I don't think we will, because from what I recall, there's only 3 episodes left. Alright, to make a total of 10 episodes. So unless they make a second season, because I would love to see a second season of this series. I think the series is great. Alright. But unless they make a second season, I don't think that Liz will get all that much more character development, because there's only 3 episodes left. Alright? And who wants to bet that blonde character, that blonde... I think it's all but confirmed at this point that blonde guy was the one who kidnapped Fuyumi, but for what reason, though? And as far as we know, he's a brand new character unless he's an old character that's transformed somehow, but I think it's... Personally, I do have a problem with that, although that could be resolved later on, because I do think it's rather late, personally, to introduce new characters into the series, let alone a new villain, because we only have 3 episodes left. Unless they plan on ending it on a cliffhanger and continuing in a second season. I never understood why they're only doing this for 10 episodes anyways. I mean, that's kind of an odd number for an anime, you know what I mean? I mean, some have 1, some have 3, some have 6, some have 12, some have 13, some have all up to 25 or 26. But 10? I only have ever seen that before, that I recall anyways. Yeah, but overall, I didn't really have any major problems with this episode. In general, except for the one I just mentioned, which was introducing a new character this late into the series, and let alone it being a villain, supposedly. So, yeah, but other than that, I thought this episode was great. I just found that flaw in it, personally, or maybe it's a nitpick, whatever, so I just had to mention it. So, yeah. But anyways, overall, hope you enjoyed this review, guys. See you after, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.